All right, be honest. Do you believe in aliens?
It's hard not to after spending a day in Roswell, New Mexico.
You will usually find us off the beaten path, hiking in beautiful national parks and state parks. Every so often, you might find us in a place like Roswell, New Mexico.
It's fun to do the touristy, kitschy things now and then, especially when they're so iconic.
And Roswell is iconic. The 1947 UFO crash that the government has covered up all of these years. I believed in it from the beginning. And you come here to Roswell and you visit the UFO museum and you see some of the data and the investigations and the
First-hand accounts and all that stuff.
The interviews that they did with everybody. I totally believe it even more now.
Well, they have a lot of documentation from kids even who were kind of witness to it, and farmers and all sorts of people here in the area who saw different things at different times and all came together. It's not like they had social media to compare stories. I mean, they saw what they saw. When you go through the museum and you read all the accounts from everybody from the military to the farmers to the kids who's, were witnessing it or their parents were witnessing it or were part of it, it is kind of crazy. And probably one of the most interesting stories was one of the main gentlemen who was involved and had seen the crash site and had documentation and pieces of the crash. And they covered it up and basically kind of hushed everything over. But somehow his neighbors witnessed him having a brand new car and enough money to buy a new business and start a new business and all these things that they said he should have never, ever had that much wealth. And all of a sudden, like literally overnight. And so, what did the government give him in return? You kind of wonder.
Well, at least a new truck and some cash. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
and you got to give Roswell credit. I mean, they have fully embraced this thing. It's funny because, it's kind of like a normal little downtown Main Street when you're walking along with different shops and artistic places and that kind of thing. But then, like, I don't know, every third or fourth store, you've got this big alien out front, and there's gift shops and that kind of stuff. So it's a really interesting mix. But they've embraced it. I mean, the city logo here on their trucks and their cars that belong to the city have the spaceship with the beam and everything. So more power to them. They've been able to make something out of all of this.
The city of Roswell actually goes back into like the, mid 1800s. And it has a really interesting history related to Billy the Kid. So there's a whole lot of stuff that you can read on that and how that played into just American history. But then when the crash happened in 1947, all of a sudden then you had this whole other layer to Roswell. And then it kind of nothing happened with it for quite a while until like the early 80s, I think it was. The sign said 70s or 80s. When some investigations started happening again and people started asking questions. And that's really when the town started embracing it. So you've got a visitor center and a museum and a research center and all of you said the tourist shops and the lampposts around here have the little alien face on them. So
the local McDonald's is a spaceship.
Yeah, that's really cool. And it has the whole like outside is built like a spaceship and the Ronald McDonald what are those, like the murals and everything inside are all like Ronald and the hamburger and the fries, like all in space costumes. It's really cute.
Yeah. And there's murals, painted all over town with different scenes from the crash or things to do with the UFOs and the aliens. So it was an interesting little town. There is some stuff to do here besides the alien things. There's a history museum. There's an art museum. We ended up spending time is it called Bricktown?
Bricktown, the Lego museum. It's not sponsored by Lego by any means. It's just a group of people here in town who have spent hours and hours, like 3,000 some hours and 500,000 bricks building these like cityscapes. And it's amazing. Just the amount of time and effort they've put into the little minifigs and their scenes. And we spent a good couple hours in there.
We spent a lot more time than I thought. But part of the fun is they give you these scavenger hunt sheets at different levels of your experience in terms of how hard you want it to be. And it's a really good idea to do at least the easy one. And it goes all the way up to diabolical, I think is the one I ended up doing. But, it really forces you to look at each of the scenes closely. And how many times do we go back to scenes and look at them again? And whether we were finding something on the scavenger hunt or not, we found just other fun things to point out to each other. So if you go do that, definitely check out one of the scavenger hunts and embrace it.
Well, and even they have embraced it because one of the whole scenes is the alien invasion. And so it's there's a farmer's field that's with the crash, and then there's just a whole nother alien scene where all the aliens have come over and taken over the town, and they're having a campfire, and they're taking selfies, and they're and all the little alien men that are in line for the porta potty was hilarious. That's one of our favorite scenes. But
So I don't know if I would make Roswell a bucket list item. Now in July, they do have the annual UFO festival.
yes.
Maybe that would be a bucket list item because I can only imagine how crazy this town gets at that time. But we weren't that far from here, and we decided we were gonna, we were staying in Carlsbad. It's like, let's zip up and check out Roswell as long as we're that close.
We came to Roswell and we didn't actually see any aliens. Oh, except for maybe this guy.
Yeah, but he came with us.
Oh yeah.
We were returning him to. We were going to return him to the crash site, but then you're not allowed to go to the crash site.
No, that was a bummer. There are tours around town that will take you to various historical places, but not to the crash site areas. Those are off limits for various reasons. But I think the tours maybe go to some of like where the farmers, like the farmers field. I don't really know. It said there was 27 different historical stops. I don't really know what that was. We weren't paying the $50 per person to do that.
Especially if we couldn't go to the crash site.
Right, because what fun would that be? But I suppose there is that to do here. Honestly, we spent more time today doing non-alien related things than we did. Like we said, we did the Lego thing. We also went to the miniature collection museum store. I don't remember what its name is. I had read about it, and what I thought it was going to be is not what it is, because I thought it was going to be this huge thing of like the little miniature scenes, so sort of like Lego, but all the little miniature like dollhouse type figures. Apparently there was a group here for many, many years that did these major displays. Now the group is disbanded, so what's left is a little museum of old dollhouses that people have donated and other scenes of all the little like miniature dollhouse type things. It was still really cool. It was fun to look at. I think my favorite part about the miniature museum had nothing to do with the miniatures, but it was an old electrified player piano where you put the scroll in with the little lines and it puffs air through and plays all the keys. And so the lady asked if we wanted to check it out. And so she let us pick out a couple songs, and we listened to that for quite a while, picked a couple different songs to play through. So I had more fun just enjoying that. Just something unique that you're not going to find everywhere.
So put Roswell on your list as a maybe. If you're in the area, I would swing by. If you're relatively close, check it out, see what's here. In the meantime, keep on trekking.
And we'll see you out there.
Maybe way out there.